Hickok 45, and this is our tribute to Mississippi. You'll get the joke, won't you? Because this is a Mississippi rifle, percussion rifle, U.S. percussion rifle of 1841. A Mississippi rifle is what it is commonly known as, and I am the proud owner of one now. You might have seen a posting or two on Instagram with it. It's a very cool muzzle loader. I'm going to shoot it today and talk about it. Yeah, try not to give you too much history. Couldn't do that. I'm too dumb to know too much about it. Yes, this is a rifle. Yeah, it is a muzzle loader. It is a rifle. It's not just a musket. It's not a smooth bore. And I'm going to go ahead and put a cap on it. It is loaded, sorta. It needs one of these though. It needs fire. It's kind of like having a big pile of newspaper all wadded up. Could be dangerous in terms of burning, but no, not till you put the match to it. All right, this is a percussion. In fact, it was, I think, the first percussion military rifle issued. All right, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, you know, they called it in its official name, like the U.S. percussion rifle of 1841 or the 1841 percussion rifle. I've seen it both ways, because that was kind of a new thing back in 1841. What should I shoot first? Yeah, I heard you. All right, let's wake him up over there. We woke him up. Oh boy, 54 caliber. That was a 54 caliber ball. Lead ball, of course. And I mean to tell you, well, you know what I'm going to be doing today? I'm going to be trying to convince you to try muzzle loading, right? And I shouldn't have to when you see final firearms like this. This one was made by Eli Whitney, who was actually, you may have studied Eli Whitney and the cotton gins in school and all that. This was, I think, his nephew, Eli Whitney Blake, who managed this the firearms facility. Whitney making these firearms. He was a contractor for the government, just like several others were. This 1841 rifle they contracted out to, as you know, happens often in the military. You know, the M1 carbine's the best example, isn't it? But gosh, Robbins and Lawrence, Remington, Whitney. I'm forgetting a Tyron, or Tyron, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, in New York. And Whitney is in New Haven, Connecticut, which you can see on the lock. Okay, and there's maybe a couple other contractors that made it, private contractors, you know, for the government. And of course, some were made at Springfield, Harper's Ferry. Harper's Ferry made the first ones, I think. But at least for the government, or not, this was for the government really, but in 1850, I guess. But the earliest ones, well, I'll talk about that. But Harper's Ferry was an arsenal, U.S. arsenal, is what I'm trying to say, just like Springfield. And then there was a lot of history with Harper's Ferry. So this was made by E. Whitney. And I traded into this in Tulsa at the gun show there. Actually, that last a couple of weeks ago. All right, saw a lot of you there. It's good to see you. Saw Buck Taylor, he was there again, newly from Gunsmoke. The Gunsmith, have you ever seen an episode of Gunsmoke? Buck Taylor is his name. He was the young guy at that time in those episodes, and he was the gunsmith of Dodge City. So anyway, he's a nice guy. He's been there the last few times I was there. I talked to him briefly, but that's off topic. This again is a military rifle, and ironically, I'll load as I'm telling you a little bit about this, but it was early on in 1841. We were still using smooth bores basically, and this was a rifle. And so the government contracted with these various private firms, firearms manufacturers, to make it, and Whitney being one of them. But at that point, in 41, 42, these companies I read had just gotten geared up to produce what they needed to under their contracts for the government, and they were all canceled. Some kind of crazy corruption in the government at the time. I don't know what it was. And so they didn't, they were all geared up. They put a lot of money into it. And the government says, nah, put a hold on that. And so what they did was they went ahead and made them. I guess most of the contractors, they went ahead and said, look, we're ready to make this thing. And I guess they thought it was a nice rifle. And they went ahead and made them and sold them to the public civilian market. And they were very popular rifles for the westward movement, for just anything, hunting, whatever you wanted to do with it. 54 caliber. I mean, basically, you got kind of a military-ish looking Hawken rifle here, and I'm shooting the same balls that I shoot in my Hawken rifles, 54 caliber, just patching them kind of the same way. Okay. So it wasn't until I think 46. Now, some of y'all that know more about it, and of course we always have lots of folks watching that know a lot more than I do. I'm gonna run past you there. 46, I think it was, is when they started making them at Harper's Ferry. I guess they decided, yeah, we need to make these after all, and these are great rifles, and they did, and they became, a military rifle. I think Springfield Army was making some. And they were used in the Mexican-American War, what you call it, which was like 1846, I think, to 1848. And that was over the business with Texas and the land out there and who knows what else. But we were at war with Mexico there, and that's where they got the name Mississippi Rifle. Let's see, it was Jefferson Davis led a regiment of Mississippians in that war down into Mexico. Put some powder in. And they carried this rifle. They had a whole regiment with them. And it acquitted them very well. It did very well. Nice rifle. And I think of the Battle of Buena Vista, they had a charge of some sort, and it did some kind of heroic charge. And anyway, the rifle became a favorite, and the people who carried it really liked it. It was accurate, reliable, and because that unit, the regiment, was from Mississippi, after that war it became known as the Mississippi Rifle. Okay, kind of famous as that. The Mississippi Rifle, and that's probably what you have seen them referred to as. If you go on websites and look at reproductions of them, like Pedersoli or whoever, you'll just look for Mississippi Rifle, and this is what you'll find. The 1841 U.S. Percussion rifle, otherwise known as the Mississippi Rifle. Okay, and again, it is a rifle. It's not smoothbore. Now, this is an early one. Well, yeah, I mean, in 1855, when the first Springfield came out in 58 caliber, we went to the 58 caliber Minie Ball. You see me shoot many of those, right? And when that happened, that became kind of the standard cartridge, standard bullet, for the U.S. military. They took these and they rebored them. They rebored a bunch of them. So it's not uncommon to find one of these chambered in 58 caliber. Okay, and you can see, and I don't have a cap on it, but you can see that thickness of that barrel. That's a healthy barrel. It was no problem to go in there, although I couldn't do it, and I kind of rebore it for 58 caliber. So I think this one has 7 grooves in the rifling, but the way they did that, it ended up with about 3 grooves and 58 caliber. So you might find one of these that's in 58, even an old one. Okay. And really, no matter how old it is, it could be a very early one, even older than this, and the 58, because it was rebored. So it's still pretty authentic. That doesn't ruin the value of it. And of course, if you buy a new one, a reproduction, they're generally in 58, okay, which is a little more convenient maybe. You shoot many balls in it. You know what? I think I'm going to go over there and see if I can hit that buffalo. My buffalo gun. Black powder, I like it. This is pretty cool. And I'm extremely pleased with it, because I thought, wow, that is a nice one. I have looked at these for a while, for years, because I've always liked the Mississippi Rifle, but they're not easy to find in the configuration you want, the condition you want. They can be expensive and just all that. And I just never have. I've come really close on a reproduction a few times. They're expensive too. I just had my eye on them for a long time. And this is a nice one. It's almost too nice to shoot. I just couldn't pass it up, but it's considered like maybe the best looking long gun of the 1800s, you know, by a lot of people. And I don't know, it may not be to you, but I really have always liked the looks of it, the brass and everything. And this one is neat because it is so historical. It's not been messed with, you know, really at all. You know, like I said, I wouldn't have minded if it had been rebored to 58. It'd be a little more convenient to shoot. And I've got a bunch of 58 caliber Minie Balls, and I shoot so many of those. You don't have to use a patch, you know. But so this is kind of like loading a Hawken or something, Kentucky long rifle or whatever. But yeah, I'll tell you another thing about it. I was so pleased. I loaded it. The bore looked great, or I wouldn't have bought it. But it is so smooth, even after shooting it. You know, I'm running a patch through it, but there's none that's hanging up. It just feels really nice, really nice. Get my ears on. See both sides of it. And I've taken it apart, which is no problem. I may do that in a chapter or two sometime. You just take out the, you know, you got the barrel bands, so it's easy to slip these barrel bands off, and then pull the barrel, a couple of screws out, and pull the barrel out, and everything is correct. You know, you got the old ramrod with the brass tip, the, I think, trumpet tip it's called, and just a nice old gun. I remember it's loaded, but it's not loaded, right? And then somebody may wonder what this is on the stock. Looks like just somebody was trying to fix the stock. That's a patch box, I think. Let's see if it's got anything in it, but I don't think I've opened it yet. There we go. Oops. Sorry, I hit somebody in the head there, I think. Oh my gosh, what is that? It's got a nipple, spare nipple in it. What is that? It's a thumbnail drive, a flash drive. Brownell's Media Kit, flash drive. I tell you, Brownell's, they are the most aggressive marketers, aren't they? Look at that. They were supplying press kits even back in 1850. That's impressive. I'll tell you what, Ryan Rip, you know what you're doing there. But yeah, you look on the lock, you saw the 1850 probably, New Haven. So this firearm was made in 1950. It's not a 1850 model. It's an 1841 model, but it was made in 1850. And the numbers all match, and you can see on the back the barrel there and the strap and everything, US. It's just a pretty simple rifle. And I was going to tell you on these, see, you've got just this basic fixed sight there. That's it. That's your sight, whether you like it or not. Later, when they converted them, a bunch of them, to 58 caliber, they rebored the barrel and they improved the sight. I think they might have put the same sight on it that's on the 1855 Springfield, something like that. But it's got, I think, a couple of flip-up sights or something. You got a little more flexibility, okay, which you need for longer ranges and everything. Now this one, when I take a fine bead, it does fine. I mean, I take a fine bead. I can see that hit. We shot it a couple of times before the video, and I was holding just about where I see that hit. That top hit on the gong is the new one, I think, and that's about where I was holding. So with 70 grains of 2F powder, it seems to hit pretty much. Whoop! I had that all over cock. Somebody will give me a hard time, won't they? It's right on, best I can tell, and seems plenty accurate. So I might just keep on trying to hit animals over there. Let's see a goat. I thought I might have missed it, but when the smoke cleared, he was gone. Oh boy, this is beauty. This is a beauty. I really like this rifle. Even if, you know, I almost decided not to shoot it. I'm so glad I did. I've got some other period firearms here. One thing also, this was not made to handle a bayonet. You see, there's no lug, there's no way to affix a bayonet to it. So I know it kind of makes it useless, right? As a deer hunting rifle. But when they bored them for the Civil War kind of to be 58 caliber like everything else, they did put a lug, I think, on the side, so it would take a bayonet. I think I saw one where they turned down the barrel on the outside a little bit, so you could slip a bayonet onto it or whatever, a socket bayonet. But this one has not had any of that done to it. But what I was going to say is, the reason I've got the Bowie knives out here, The guys who carried this in the Mexican-American War and even afterwards, since you didn't have any provision for bayonet, they would carry a Bowie knife, a large knife of some kind, a Bowie knife they could, like this, or whatever they could find. I don't guess they had a Randall at the time, but a knife. In fact, I think it was that Battle of Buena Vista where they all fired and then they charged with their Bowie knives, I read somewhere. So a Bowie knife was more important, a big knife, since you didn't have a big knife for your rifle if you're in the military. And also I have the Dragoon out here because this is the 1836, you've seen that. So that was around at the time. And then the Dragoon came around, I think 1848, the first model of it maybe, came right after the Walker Colt. And so it had like 3 different generations, but right there in 1848, 49, 50, 51, 52, along in there. So whoever carried this rifle early on might have been carrying that revolver or one like it. That's a reproduction Colt, but or this, or this, or a Bowie knife like that. So this is kind of stuff that they'd be carrying. And of course they had their their flash drive in their patch box and ready to go. Seriously, the patch box, that's a patch box, and so you could put some patches in there, and a couple of balls, patches, have some spare stuff there. There's a spare nipple there, and that's what it's for. It's a nice large patch box. I have some Hawken rifles with patch boxes, but none that large. So that's a very handy patch box, a little bit bigger. So I just fired, right? Yep. Got to keep up with it when you're talking and loading. I've mentioned that many times with muzzle loaders. It's one of the things you have to watch out for if you're with a buddy and you're shooting one of these things. You get to talking and forget whether you put powder in yet or whatever you've done. So you want to be careful and keep that checked. I'm going to run a patch, but it just goes down pretty easily and back, makes it even easier to load, but not a problem for as dirty as it is. It's got a great bore. Now, here's something I ordered from Track of the Wolf. I just got them in. Some Minie Balls, okay? Minie Balls. And they're not really historically correct, but I thought, I might try those. They're in 54 caliber. And most Minie Balls, the 58's the standard, right? And when this was around, I don't think they had those in 54. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I'd try them. They're easier to load and mess with. I ain't even shot one yet. I just brought those out. Thought I might shoot one. Maybe we'll experiment with you all on air. How's that? I'm shooting again about 70 grains of powder, and then nothing sacred about that. Just a good standard load. I think I'll try one of these. See if it'll go in. I've got them lubed up. Looks like it. Looks like it'll fit. Let's try. They got like a semi-wad cutter. They got a flat nose. It might be a good hunting round, if you have one of these. And I don't know that the rifling is great for a Minie Ball. That's the thing too. They changed the rifling. Well, it went down awful easy. But that's one of the beauties of a Minie Ball. So I don't know if the twist rate on the rifling is perfect for a Minie Ball, unpatched, kind of Minie Ball sort of thing or not. I'd have to experiment with the accuracy. It's probably good enough, if you're going to hunt or do something like that with it. So they were meant for round ball, patched round ball. I read that they issued a powder flask and then a bag of balls, is kind of what they had. And I also read that the balls were kind of sealed, sewn up in a piece of patching material, maybe kind of like that. That's bed ticking, and they're actually sewn up. And that was the extent of a cartridge, I guess. And then they used a powder flask to load their powder, and then their ball was already, so I guess it was already lubed, and so it was just a matter that would be cut off, and they just stick that in the bore and go, So if that's all true or not. Mississippi rifle, purty gun, and I'm just glad it works. Let's put one on the target. I don't know, that's pretty far away. I don't know if I can hit that bull or not. We'll try. Close. Oh, that reminds me. Today is Thanksgiving. How's that? John and I are out here having fun. We're gonna watch a little football. I don't know when you'll see this. You might not know when you'll see it, and I certainly don't know when you'll see it, but today is Thanksgiving. And there's something about it, it seems like it's an appropriate day to shoot a muzzleloader, you know? And it's always an appropriate day to shoot a muzzleloader. So John and I are, of course, thankful that you all are watching. Thankful that we get to shoot so many different cool, interesting firearms. And, you know, I mean, think about it. It doesn't really get much better than this. It's a pretty fall day. The weather is pretty good. It's about 50, 55 degrees right now. For Tennessee, can't complain. And you can see just a nice still day. And got a neat old historical muzzleloader out here. So it's a good day. And we're glad y'all came by. So let me shoot a couple more times here, okay? We want to, you know, we've not shot a 2-liter. So what else about this did you want to know? Many of you maybe don't know much about muzzleloaders yet. Again, we get a lot of new people every day. And we have, of course, videos on various muzzleloaders. You can search the channel, Hawk and Rifle for Civil War rifles, 1861, Enfield. You know, we've shot several of them. I have several of them. Enjoy them pretty often. And talk a lot about the safety involved with muzzleloaders. And, you know, some things I don't agree with that some people think are important and vice versa. But I've been shooting them since 73 or 4 and successfully. And you just have to watch black powder. If you use black powder, it is highly flammable. Need I tell you that? So you want to try to remember to set your can away when you're shooting. I think I do that pretty well. And I don't get in a big hurry. You're trying to load 4 or 5 a minute and risk embers being down in there, but keep your face from over the muzzle. That's always good. Okay. And but if you know what you're doing, take your time. Don't try to do a video while you're doing it. It usually works out pretty well. And again, it's messy. I've washed my hands once. We were shooting it. John and I have been enjoying it this afternoon. And then before we started the video, or before we brought you all in, I actually went in and washed my hands and everything. And but you get dirty. That's all right. Oh boy, it just goes down smoothly. I am so glad. I didn't know if it would be a good shooter after all these years or not. I just knew I was taking a risk. Look how dirty it is. It'll clean up like a new one. Well, not like a new one, but it'll clean up. Okay, I'm gonna put that cap down on it. Here's back on, and what should I, you know what? Let's smoke this pot before we get too far afield, because you never know. When we're ever doing a muzzle loading, we'll set up a few targets, but you never know for sure, you know, how much we'll shoot. You know what I might try? I see a bowling pin right behind. I'm gonna get down low here and see if I can get that pot and the bowling pin. All right, got a strike as I smoked the pot. I just noticed that. That wasn't planned, by the way, but I just noticed it. Ah, look at the smoke bellowing out. Okay, what else? I feel like there's some things about it that you might want to know. Again, 1841, one of the very first percussion, military rifles. Not many around with rifling at the time, especially in the military, and very well liked. Started his life, with frontiersmen and just civilians, like I said, because of that issue apparently with the government and canceling contracts or whatever. And then it became a beloved military rifle for a while, and acquitted itself quite well in Mexico and other places. And it just has been really liked. And it was used, I didn't say much about it, but it was used in the Civil War as mostly by the South, I think, but on both sides. It was really well liked. And I think, what did I read about the armories? I think when the war was about to break out, they shipped a bunch of them from some of the armories into the South. So the South ended up with more of them, I believe, but it was used on both sides. And especially until the 1861s or the others, it became more plentiful. The Enfields and the Springfields became more plentiful in the ranks, but and all of them hadn't been converted to 58. So it was nice to, of course, everybody be able to use the same Minie Ball, right? Which the Enfields and the Springfields would do. So let's load him up again. Oh man, I love this rifle. It's just the brass really sets it off. I've always thought they were just gorgeous rifles. Got a nice ramrod there. I typically don't use those, but they work. And I love it. Let's load it and shoot it again. Yeah, boy. I think I won't even swab the bore on this one. It's not necessary. I just was using this lately. I've got that set on 70 grains of powder, and I thought I'd just do that. It's kind of a simple one. All right, put powder in. I was really glad to find this or run across it. I had to think long and hard, which is not easy for me to think at all, much less long and hard. Yeah, sweet. It's right down. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the bore on this thing. I'll take good care of it. Again, I am the curator. I am responsible for this thing while I'm on the planet. Okay. I guess I know in 1850 they didn't expect that it might be used to shoot 2 liters with, but let's do that. Let's get a Kentucky 2 liter. Oh boy, sweet. I don't know if I'll ever get a sling for it or not. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. We'll do a woods walk. How's that? But yeah, it's nice. And I know I'm keeping you too long, but I got to shoot it once or twice more. I'll probably think of something that you're dying to know about. You've got to get into the joys of muzzle loading if you haven't done that yet. You folks that are watching who do muzzle loading, help me spread the fever, and you normally do, because you share what firearms you like to shoot like this, and we've got to get these young folks or old folks who haven't tried it to enjoy the pleasures, of shooting muzzle loaders. I'm a life member now of the National Muzzle Loading Rifle Association, and I try to get up to friendship every year, at least once a year, sometimes twice, to the national shoots. And I don't even compete up there. There's just something about these things that just draws you to them if you like firearms. And you're not afraid of a little mess. They're just wonderful old pieces of history. Whether it's a reproduction, I've got reproductions, I've got originals, and you get them out to shoot them, and there's really no difference to speak of. They're all just fun. You're your own hand loader. It's kind of neat. You experiment with patches. Like if you're trying to get the most accuracy, for example, out of this, and testing accuracy and shooting repeated groups and that kind of thing, you might discover that, like, that's a 0.015 thickness patch. I've got 0.010 different thickness of patches, and this bed ticking is even thicker. In fact, let me show you. That's how I used to load all the time in the 70s. Where's my patch knife? It might be kind of thick. Let's see. I need a little bit of lube on it. Sorry. Hey, you know what? I can just spray a little Balsol for now. It won't matter. Do that. We won't get the powder wet, I don't think, before I get it fired off. People would spit on them and everything else just to get one loaded sometimes. But this was the way. You put the bed ticking over there, and you take the short end of the starter. Yeah, it's pretty tight. But the tighter it is, generally speaking, the more accurate it's going to be. Okay, then you push it on down. So this bed ticking is, yeah, it's tighter. It's pretty thick. So if I were in competition, that might be what I want to use. not too hard to load, but still tighter. And if I were shooting for groups, people who compete with these things with muzzle loaders, I think they use a really thick patch, really thick, sometimes way thicker than I want to deal with. So I need some fire here. Now, see, I won't be able to tell any difference because I'm not sure where to hold the sights exactly. But just again, to demonstrate the different techniques. Okay. I don't know. I just like shooting those animals. I'm gonna try. What is the animal that most needs to be shot? Let's see. I've not shot a small animal. I'll try that pig up there on the left. This will help tell me how the sights are, or where to hold maybe, whether I hit or miss. I'm gonna hold right on his body. All right, he went over. I'll tell you, look at that smoke. Heavenly. I have had some muzzle loaders that I really do like, but that I've just not been able to hit well with. What was it? Seemed like maybe it was the Hawken that I had stolen. And sometimes I'll go through that with my reproduction infield. I think because the front sight just is not high enough, although I built it up some. But I have had muzzle loaders that I just loved them and shoot them, and up close I can hit anything, but go there and be shooting at the animals and I just can't hit one for some reason out of 4 or 5 shots. Just weird stuff like that. So I'm always happy to get one that even those sights are fixed and there's only one setting, it seems to be right. I'm gonna shoot one more time and then I'm gonna make you leave, okay? So I figure most of you, if you don't like muzzle loaders, you're not here anyway, right? So since you're not here, I want to talk to you people about not liking muzzle loaders. You need to try it, okay? This is really going back into time. I like the old lever guns and things. This kind of stuff goes back even further. And of course, again, there's a special cool factor with this rifle because it is an original and made in 1850. I feel really obligated to take good care of it. I'll show you the butt of it. It's not new off the assembly line. I mean, it's been used. You can see it's been set down and reloaded. Got a few nicks here. There's the cartouche, the military, and everything. But it's in awfully nice shape. And if that barrel looks odd to you, you're not familiar, that's a Browning. It's called instead of the standard bluing, it's kind of a Browning effect. And it's the original finish. Okay. So you'll be thinking about what you want me to shoot on the last shot here. And I'll be thinking about any other lies I forgot to tell you about it. But if you think these are pretty cool, the Mississippi rifle, look them up, do some research on it. There are some beautiful reproductions of it. And in fact, I've come really close on the Pedersoli reproduction of it. Beautiful gun, and they make great guns. And it's 58 caliber. So it's real attractive. I'm going to be tempted on one of those one day. I just know it. Because I can shoot my regular Minie Balls in it, and they're beautiful. I guess that's the definition or an indication you're pretty sick, right? You call a firearm beautiful. Oops, I forgot to the long part of this then. There we go. Oh yeah, the gun banners and the gun haters, they could have a field day with me and the things I say about firearms. I've probably called specific firearms lovely and everything else. I think I've shown you all this, haven't I? If you get a patch stuck down in there when you're cleaning, you got your corkscrew there. In fact, I did that today. You just go down in there and twist it and pull it right out. You can also do that if you get a ball stuck in there with any powder. There's a screw. I've got an attachment that's actually a screw. Some people tell me that works great. But I just hate to be down in there against the rifling, messing with that metal screw too much. I end up taking the nipple off and putting some powder behind it because it doesn't take much, and then just blow it out. You can also use compressed air. I've not done that, but understand that works. Okay, did anybody come up with what I should shoot last? I think I might just, I haven't missed over there, have I? Gosh, I need to miss before we quit. No, I don't want to miss before we quit. I think there might have been a situation in the Old West where one of these might have had to be used to take out a desperado, really a cowboy type desperado that was up to no good, like he was trying to harm you. So why don't we do that? Because I see a desperado right there. I'm going to put a 54 caliber ball right where it hurts. Yep, right in the heart. All right, man. As I've said before, I know a couple other firearms. There's nothing better than having a firearm you really like for a lot of reasons. Maybe because of the historical significance, maybe because it is old itself. You just like the looks of it, the feel of it, and everything. And then to be able to shoot it fine. You'd be able to get it to hit where you want it to hit without a lot of problem. So this is one of those apparently, and I really just found this out today. Today is the first day we have fired it. Came out early, even before Thanksgiving dinner, which was early today, and fired it a few times and was pleased. And then John and I ate our fill of turkey and dressing and all that good stuff, pumpkin pie, and came back out and shot it some more. And I don't think either one of us could miss with it. So it's there's something special about it. I can see why everything I read tells me that the people loved this rifle and it was so popular. And again, that's part of the joy of, I don't remember that barrel scratch. That's part of the joy of being able to shoot these kinds of things and enjoy them. It does take you back into history. When you read about people liking the Mississippi rifle, back in the day in the 1840s and 50s, and how it was a popular rifle, it was known to be an accurate rifle and reliable rifle and all that kind of thing. And you can read a lot of things, right? Well, to actually have one from the period and to shoot it and discover the same thing for yourself is kind of special. It really is. And to be able to experiment with these many different types of firearms is, again, largely because of you all and what we've been doing the last 10 years. And it's part of the reason I'm so motivated. We are motivated to continue doing this kind of thing, and we get to enjoy a lot of interesting firearms and bring them to you. So I appreciate y'all coming by. Goes without saying, and I'd like to shoot it about 25 more times. I think I'm going to clean it, but I'm not going to worry about getting every last speck out of it. And then Sunday is supposed to be another day like today, and I'm just going to shoot it some more, and then I'll give it a really good cleaning maybe. So glad you came by, and I guess I'll let you go. Happy Thanksgiving. Even though you're not watching this on Thanksgiving, just kind of pretend you are, okay? Life is good.
Didn't see you there. I was just playing my favorite country and western song. While I've got you here, I want to remind you to check out our friends over at SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. You can find them at sdi.edu. They are a fully accredited online distance learning program where you can become get an associate's degree in firearms technology or become certified in gunsmithing. So if you're interested in a career like that, please go check them out, sdi.edu. Also, while you're on the internet, please go to hickok45.com and see everything we have over there. We have all of our social media links and all that kind of thing, like full30.com, links to our store. We have t-shirts now that you can acquire for yourself through Bunker Branding. Matt from Demolition Ranch's new company. It's Hickok45 on Twitter, just to save you the time from going to the website. Hickok45 on Facebook. The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John Hickok YouTube channel. There's a John_Hickok45 Instagram where I post some stuff. So please go check that out. And then I'm going to get back to playing this country song.